What's up, guys? My name's Anthony and you're watching Crypto Ride. Today we're back and we're going to talk about a project that I have never talked about on the channel, which is kind of crazy because it's one of the biggest projects out there. And of course, if you saw the thumbnail, that project is Litecoin. If it's your first time stopping by Crypto Ride, I just want to say a couple things about the channel. First of all, we are here to help you navigate the ups and downs of cryptocurrency through videos about cryptocurrency news, technical analysis like the ones you're about to watch, and crypto project reviews. So we reviewed a ton of projects. Also, if you're new here, we're very big on Chainlink. That is the project I do technical analysis on most often. But Litecoin has been exciting over the last couple weeks. I know it hasn't been an amazing Monday, but I'm going to put some things in perspective for you here and let you know where I think we're headed. But let's talk about it. Let's get started here. First thing I want to talk about is the 50-day moving average. So before we even look at the Litecoin chart, I just want to talk about that for a brief moment, and I want to go over this 6 tips for how to use it. If the price meets the 50-day simple moving average, which is what we're going to be looking at, and bounces up, you should think long, which means the price could head higher. If it goes down, think short. If the price breaks the 50-day simple moving downwards, switch your opinion to bearish. If the price breaks the 50-day moving upwards, you should switch your opinion to bullish. So now as we switch over to the Litecoin chart here and we look at this green line that I just clicked on, this is our simple moving average on the 50-day. Now I keep saying 50-day because you could look at these simple moving averages on different time frames, like that's the 200-day, the 100-day, and we're going to look at those a little bit later. But the 50-day moving average is the one that's really come into play for us on this Litecoin chart over the last week or so. So let's just start with the present. We officially broke above this and kind of stayed there. These are the daily charts back on November 3rd, it looks like, and we've been above it ever since. Now, I want to point out a few things for everybody. The last time we broke above this was on roughly January 1st, so the beginning of 2019, and I just want to show you, once we broke above this, we stayed above this, and we saw a price rise from when we initially rose above here to the top of this bubble here in June. Over the 6 months, we saw a 346% gain over a 6-month period. Big deal. Yeah, it would have been a little less than that if you sold and we dropped down, but you got to keep that in mind. Crypto's had a really impressive year. A lot of people forget that. I want to say to you, as I said, I talked about putting this in perspective. I think when people think about cryptocurrency or any investment in general and they watch the charts and they watch it daily, it's really hard to keep the big picture in mind. I think it's easy to think that everything is looking down and doom and gloom, but you just have to zoom out sometimes. All right, now let's talk about when we fell below this because it has been kind of a rough couple months. Now, this was back on July 10th, it looks like. The price fell down. Again, we're watching the daily candles. We're on the daily time frame for those of you guys who know TA. So we fell down here on July 9th, it looks like. And if you watch this green line, we stayed below it. We breached it just for a second, but we fell right back down until this moment right here, which was the daily candle on November 4th. So of course, it's November 11th now, and you can see we've been holding above this for a week. That is a good sign. You could also see how this line keeps falling, and we're staying above. So what's that mean if we go back to this? We've turned from bearish to bullish. It's bullish in general when you're above the 50, and this is a really good sign. So, a lot of people, I'm sure you woke up on Monday and you saw this red candle, so you said, oh my God, it's a Monday, it's going to be a bearish week, but now we're turning right back around. Looks like we're turning green again. So for me, this isn't really a cause for concern unless we dip back below this green line and we close there on a daily candle. Next thing I want to talk about is this overall downtrend. We had a medium-term downtrend, which started here on June 22nd, and Litecoin really had a rough couple months here. But I just want to show you this with this pump that happened on October 25th, which was, of course, the big one when we got the announcement from China, which I made a video about. In my last video, I'll put a link to it up top. But when we got that announcement that the Chinese government was going to be investing in blockchain, Bitcoin, of course, pumped like 30-40% in one day, and a lot of the market went with it. And we're going to talk a lot about how Litecoin is tied to the market as a whole a little bit more at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. But I do need you to understand that we broke out of this downtrend. This is a really positive thing. Again, I know the markets don't always move as fast as we would like them to. We'd like to put our money into an investment and see the thing take off really quick, but you have to be patient and you have to let time do the heavy lifting, as Tika Tuari always says. As a YouTuber, what I always try and do for you guys is give you the potential downside movement and the potential upside movement. So first, we're going to talk about the support, which, if you don't know, is where we could expect this price to fall if it moves lower. The first one, I think the most obvious, which we saw react to earlier today even, is the $60 price point. Again, we're looking at the daily candles. So I think $60 for now is our short-term support. We want to see this line hold above this, and you saw it respected it really well, or it has so far, at least today. Again, this is a daily candle, so we won't really know what this looks like for some hours now. But the nice thing is that's well above the 50-day moving average, which we talked about. So that's a good thing. So that's the first and foremost. If you're rooting for Litecoin and want to see it go up for whatever reason, you want to make sure we stay above that. But next, let's talk about this yellow line at $51.88. We had a fair amount of action here historically. So we can look back to March, right? Acted as support here, resistance here, a lot of buying and selling action over here. So that's $51.88. So roughly $52 could be another price to keep an eye on, right? That could be a stop loss for you if you purchased sometime around here and you're trying to do a swing trade. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not a professional. I'm just someone that does this as a hobby because it's a passion of mine. I know a fair amount, but again, I'm not a professional financial advisor. All right, if it falls even lower, I'm looking at $43. Guys, I don't think that's going to happen right now. I think we're going to be bullish, but I just wanted to show you. You had a lot of support over here and resistance here. This dates all the way back to February 2019. We haven't been that low, obviously, for quite some time. I don't really see it happening, but I always try and give you the worst case scenario as well as the best case scenario. So why don't we get into some positive scenarios? So now we have a few more lines in this chart. So let me talk about it. These green ones are areas of resistance as the price moves up. The yellow line, which I made thicker, is the 100-day moving average, which is another key level we want to see this price of Litecoin pass on its way upward. This is the 200-day, and you can see we're still well below that, although eventually we'll want to see it past that, but I don't think that's happening short term. I don't think that's happening this week, but that's a line we're going to want to pass as well. But I want you to notice this first area of resistance, which we have, is the $64.90, right around $65. And you can see this yellow line, which is the 100-day moving average, is also sitting right about there. So that is the first. And if I had to say there's one critical area that we're going to be looking at short term this week, that's the one. So keep your eyes on $65. If we can get past that, the next level of resistance would likely be $71.63. And if we can break even past that, then we're looking as high as $77. Okay. This week, what I'm hoping for is to pass this $65 mark sometime before this Sunday would be very possible. And then to see it hold above the 100-day moving average would also be a bullish indicator. So that's what we're really hoping for. That would be the best case scenario that we can see play out this week. Other thing I'll point out is we do need some more volume. If you look down here, this is the volume coming in. You can see we had a nice injection, a positive green volume here. And we had a red day, but it didn't hurt us much, which is a good sign. But then you can kind of see the volumes, it's kind of trailing off. We really want it to look more like this. We want it to look like this again when we see a move upward. So we'll see what happens with the market this week. Really, we just use these charts to make predictions off of past price action and probabilities. Now, this comes from Dash News. I'm going to go ahead and say that the author of this is not a Litecoin fan. Of course, he's got some bias because he's writing for the Dash News website. So, of course, he's going to be trying to sway his views towards that. But he does talk about what he calls the genius of their marketing. So he starts out here. He says, "Those who know me are aware I'm no strong fan of Litecoin." Again, take that from where it's coming from. But watch what he writes after this. "You can't deny the genius of its core marketing strategy, the silver to Bitcoin's gold. First, this explanation requires almost no extra educational effort. Everyone knows silver and gold, and everyone knows at least what Bitcoin is. At this point in 2019, almost 2020, everyone has heard of Bitcoin, right? And that's generally what I say to people. When people ask me, oh, you're into cryptocurrency, you own Bitcoin, what is that all about? The way I usually say it, my simple, without getting into decentralized ledgers, and the scarcity of it. The most simple way that I say it, oh, it's like digital gold. It's a store of value. You hold it for its long-term value. And silver goes pair in pair with the precious metal gold, if you don't know. So most importantly, Litecoin is solidified in the present cryptocurrency space as one of the bigger name brands, which is also true. And you saw what he's talking about right here at the beginning of the video. You saw the price shoot up with Bitcoin. Litecoin is connected to Bitcoin, right? So it will rise with it. A lot of people talk and they run their mouth about Litecoin. Litecoin is one of my personal larger holdings, right? I always try and be transparent with you guys. I happen to really like Litecoin long term. I have no anticipation of selling my Litecoin long term. I'm a hodler. So that's some food for thought. Let me know if you'd like to see some more Litecoin technical analysis. If it's your first time here, again, subscribe. Please give the video a like. It helps the channel grow. And I want to thank you for supporting us. Here's looking forward to a positive upwards week in cryptocurrency. Enjoy the ride, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.